3 of the men who were ordered to kill at the Heidelberg Tavern that evening in December 1993 say now they plan to strike a much harder blow with more casualties than the 4 bodies that were carried out into the night.
I had gone there to shoot any living thing. It was my aim to shoot anybody within the tavern.
The rifle grenade that was fired in by Mr. Madasi, why did that have wire nails either glued or fixed to the head of the rifle grenade? Can you explain that to us?
Oh yeah. Yeah, science ngokwenjongo sisi.
We decided to make it so that as many people as possible could be injured. It was done for more impact and more casualties.
Were your orders simply to attack the building, or were your orders to kill the people inside the premises as well?
It was to kill anything that lived inside the tavern. I had not gone to attack a building.
The applicators maintain they were simply carrying out orders when they attacked the tavern. They say as soldiers they had no choice, but executed the attack with pride and in the knowledge that they were helping to fight the struggle against the oppressor.
Makebu drove straight to the Heidelberg Tavern. When we arrived at the tavern, Makebu had pulled up on the quote-unquote wrong side of the road. When he stopped, I jumped out of the car and ran towards the entrance of the tavern, armed with an AK-47 rifle, and I opened fire immediately, indiscriminately, aiming to kill or injure as many people as possible. I did not enter the tavern.
I decided to go right inside the tavern. And I went inside and I started shooting until all the bullets were finished.
In regard to the Heidelberg Tavern attack, I was supposed to throw a hand grenade, but I did not do so. At the time, I did not think it wise to do so because I would almost certainly have killed my comrades as they were retreating from the attack on the tavern.
Mr. Chairman, we're about to see video footage of the interior of the tavern as taken by the police team on the morning after the attack.
Sien rooi vloeistof langs een van die reëldes.
Liquid next to one of the deceased.
Mr. Chairman, the camera moves to a raised portion of the interior of the tavern where the other 2 deceased lay, that is Bernadette Langford and Lindy Fourie. Mr. Chairman, between the 2 bodies is a cartridge against the panelling of the wall encircled in white chalk, as well as one on the left-hand side of one of the bodies.
As ook merke teen die muur op die regterkant
Did you understand that you were going to kill white men on that evening? Is that your understanding?
Yes. I was told that we're going to hit the white man. Everybody knows who the oppressor was.
And did the white man also include young women as well?
According to the education I received, the battle with it, the battle Apla was lodging, was fighting the oppressor. Who you were or what you were was irrelevant. If you're an oppressor, we would fight against.
On your own version now, you admitted going into the premises, shooting at least one person who you saw moving in the tavern.
I'm an Apla soldier. I obey orders. I was taught that an order is an order.
Did it not worry you that despite the political atmosphere in the country, and given the fact, as we know it later, that the elections occurred a few months after Heidelberg attack?
No, it did not trouble me, because I was carrying out orders.
What is your attitude to those orders? Do you simply obey them blindly, like a robot, if I can put it that way?
You do not question orders. This is how I was trained.
It is a great irony that while the PAC clearly states that their struggle was against a white oppressor, the bullets that came from the guns of their soldiers that night killed only one white person. 3 of the dead were not white.
First of all, you must understand that the order was such that I should go to this place and shoot the people. Whether they were students or not was not the criteria. Whether they were black or white. We were not fighting a racial war. Nobody was written on the forehead whether he was a white oppressor or black oppressor. An oppressor has no color, no race.
But you ended up killing people who are not regarded as white. Could this be regarded as a botched or a messed up operation?
Sir, I cannot comment on that. We were told to go to the tavern. I don't know how to respond to your statement.
At the end of 5 days of harrowing testimony and cross-examination, the simple fact that those who killed and those who lost loved ones had been brought together made for an emotional climax to the hearing. For the victims, survivors and families, this was the first time they were together as a group. As they faced each other and the 3 young Apla men, all the harsh realities of the past flooded into the present.
I really need to know how you felt when you saw what you had done to human life. I really need to know that. Because can you remember their faces maybe? Can you remember how shocked they looked? Can you remember when they fell? Can you remember anything about that?
Ma'am, I don't want it to seem like I'm a racist. The conditions that we lived under here in Azania led to such incidents. As the oppressed by the culprits, everybody who was oppressed is clear of who the oppressor was. I know that nobody has a right, whatever race, to take somebody else's life. However, under the conditions that we lived in at that time, the people that oppressed us did a whole lot of things, shedding the blood of the oppressed. The same people went to church and prayed and called themselves Christians. I know it is painful to lose a loved one, someone as close as your daughter. We're a lot as the oppressed, and we've lost our loved ones under the oppressor.
You haven't told me how you feel, how you felt about their lives. That's important to me.
You, as people who lost loved ones, your daughters, your husbands, I would appreciate a moment where we could sit and talk, because now we're at another level altogether. I want to be part of that level. I don't know if you have your answer.
I want to ask of you, in your application for amnesty, you are asking the survivors and the next of kin or families for forgiveness. But thus far, you have shown no remorse whatsoever to give us some sort of comfort. You have shown us nothing. You have only spoken of the orders and the killings that you have done. I understand a great deal of your suffering. We have also suffered. But I think it is about time that you must face us and ask us directly for forgiveness.
You perhaps look at me and think that I'm not showing remorse. However, our families know us well. I know that people who work closely with us in connection with this matter, they would tell you how much remorse we are experiencing. If we did not, we would not be here even at this moment. That is tragic, because we are not created to kill others. I ask for forgiveness. I would not like this to happen as it did then. However, we must bear in mind that circumstances were such that we ended up involved in such actions. I ask for forgiveness to the parents and the next of kin of those who lost their lives.
Molweni, my daughter. I'm very sorry that I can't express my thoughts and feelings in Xhosa. I think you remember me. At the criminal trial, I asked the translator to tell you that I had forgiven you. Do you remember that?
Yes, we remember.
And Mr. Kumfa was unwilling and looked the other way, but I certainly shook Mr. Mabala and Mr. Madasi's hands. Nothing has changed. I still feel exactly the same way, and I do forgive you. I want to tell you who Lindy was. She was known as Lindy We by her Xhosa friends. Lindy was a true child of Africa. She helped me to understand how subtle my prejudice and bias and racial discrimination was. That it was nothing blatant. It was in the very, very subtle fibers of my being. She helped me to understand that. She was totally willing to treat everyone as an equal. And she did that openly and freely. Her black friends were as important to her as her white friends. Lindy could have been your friend. You did your own cause immeasurable harm by killing her.
My differences are not with these individuals, though, but with the mentality of an organization which led to its soldiers and allowed those soldiers to attack its own government. We all know that the peace negotiations were well on the way by the time this attack took place. In fact, the National Party, the racist regime, had already transferred power to the Transitional Executive Council, and the elections was almost inevitable. The word amnesty is derived from the Greek word amnesia, which means to forget. Well, we cannot forget. A just war is understandable, but granting amnesty to people who killed indiscriminately will be condoning the actions of every single individual worldwide who has ever planted a bomb on an aeroplane, machine gunned a restaurant, or killed innocent people in the name of political idealism.
It was a very emotional moment, personally, because I felt the pain that the victims felt, and of which I do regret the loss of lives, and moreover, in the position in which I saw them. Hoping that this message will be relayed to the victims and to other people who suffered the struggle, especially to the victims, because we are the source of what they are going through. I hope that they will do realize that even myself personally as a human being, that thing affected me, and even right now, I still can't cope with it. That if God created me to be an angel of death, that's something that I cannot believe. It's very much painful even to me. At least having my humble plea to the victims that I need an assistance to them, because I think they might be an assistance, because personally I'm very much sick about what I've done to the victims, because no human being can do such a thing. Thank you very much.